Uh, Welcome, everyone. Welcome to STAB, the Student Startup Lab, podcast hosted by me, Sasha Levsky. And today I'm here with two McGill students. Hi, guys.
Hello.
So we have Paloma
Hello.
and Mathilde. So I think today the point is to have like a sort of conversation about the student experience, about this decisions, and just have a simple discussion. So I think the best way to start is just you guys present yourself in a short, brief way, and then we'll get started.
Okay.
Please.
No.
Don't worry.
Okay. So the camera for people here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Paloma Hesri. I'm a second-year student here at McGill. I am majoring in liberal arts, minoring in Mandarin Chinese, and in music education.
Hello, my name is Mathilde. I'm in second year too, also in liberal arts. And I'm minoring in Islamic studies and currently taking classes of Arabic too. And that's it. I also have a podcast, which is sort of how I met Sasha.
So yeah, thank you for being here. And so yeah, I wanted to start. I wanted to start by playing you a recording.
Interesting.
Because the thing is, I recently asked a lot of students some questions. So I just sent it out some questions about just different questions about student life and student experience. And one of them was, um, what's your biggest challenge that you face in university? And I got a response that was pretty interesting. And so I wanted us to start our conversation by, talking about this response. So wait, I'll start the recording and you will tell me guys if you hear. Okay, yeah.
Hi, my name is Emily. I'm a computer science and biology major, and I go to McGill University in Canada. First question, what's the hardest challenge you face in university? I would say making decisions. For me, because for the first 12 years of my education, a lot of decisions about extracurriculars and courses were made by someone else. Being put in a position of authority over my own life was quite jarring. And you could choose to value something like prestige or salary or stability or making a difference in the world in your future career, but you also don't have to. And it's a little bit difficult to decide what actually matters to you and what doesn't, at least for me. So I think having to make all of these decisions for myself for the first time was quite difficult.
So that's the recording. Well, first of all, thoughts, feelings, first impressions.
Well, at first, when you asked us, like, what would be the biggest challenge that we faced, I didn't think about, like, making decisions, but the way she explained it, it sort of makes sense.
Mm.
Like, before university, we were in a, like, bubble, and we didn't have to make many choices, or at least it seemed that those choices were less significant for our life. So, yeah, that's just something I thought about, like, listening to this.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to add that when I thought about the question, the challenges that we faced, I was going to answer something pretty superficial, and then Emily, tapped into something much deeper, and it reminded me of a quote of Sartre, who said, "We are condemned to be free," is the literal translation. The original is, "Nous sommes condamnés à être libres." And I think that embodies this quote perfectly, because we have the luxury to study whatever we want to study, especially us in les humanités, in arts. We really get to choose what we want to do, and it's such an interdisciplinary program that we can basically do anything we want. And that is jarring. She is right, because that leaves so much space for responsibility in the decisions that you're making. It is a privilege, but it's also sort of a prison, as Sartre suggests, because that means that everything you do is solely under your undertaking.
Yeah.
And anything that you don't do is also under your responsibility. So I guess the question of responsibility is the jarring thing. Um, and it's something new to us, as Emily said, because we're just entering this adulting phase of our lives. Um, so I would definitely say, yeah, decision making is a very big challenge.
Yeah, well, I completely agree. That's why hearing this, like, same thing as you, when I first even thought about the question, I wasn't going for that type of answer.
Mm,
And then when she sent me this answer, I was like, wow, this is so true, so interesting to see how it embodies a little bit every challenge that students face. Because when you think like about student challenges, you can think, oh, my grades, oh, I don't know, whatever. But here, the making decision part is so true because that's also part of adulthood and how you
mm,
step into, your own life. You become, you choose what you want to do. And I personally remember even starting McGill, I remember just facing this Minerva and being like, what courses do I put right now? What should I choose as my major? What should I choose as my courses? I was so lost. And even I remember I had this mentor program
mm.
here, and I called the guy at like midnight, and I was just poor guy, really, he was lovely. But I called him and I was like, I don't know what to do. I was so stressed out because for me it was the end of my life. Well, now I don't understand that we can change like hundreds of time
Yeah.
courses. But it's just, yeah, the process of making decisions is really really quite new and interesting. So I would say, have you, going on to making decisions as well,
Mm.
first of all, do you have experiences in making hard decisions? Like, have you thought about, like, do you have an example where you really had to make a decision and you weren't sure about it? First question, just in general.
I can answer that first if that leaves you
Mhm.
time to think. Um, Major picking was terrible for me.
Mm.
Um, I came in with advanced credits, which means that technically I could graduate in 3 years. And so that didn't allow a foundation year or a time for me to kind of test waters and test classes, see what I like. I immediately had to choose a major. And the initial major that I came here for wasn't available like anymore at all.
Really?
Yeah,
What was
because
it?
of cut funds. Like they were cutting funds. It was a major in music for art students, and then
Okay.
you could minor in whatever you wanted in arts. And like the year I entered McGill was the year they stopped that program.
No.
And I based my decision on the calendar that was available the year before me.
Mhm.
Um, and so for about a week during ad drop, it was an experience, and I met a lot of different people, like in the advising panel, in the I don't even know where, like whose door I knocked. I basically knocked every possible door I could.
Mhm.
Um, and in the end, while scrolling, I discovered the liberal arts program, which I absolutely adore, and now I wouldn't change anything. Um, like related to majors and everything. I spent a lot of time, figuring out what I wanted to do and what was available. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's not just, something that I decide. And then little by little, I just added things that made sense to me. Um, but I would definitely say that the biggest challenge was in a short amount of time, deciding something that I know is going to impact my future, my job opportunities, the people I meet,
Mm-hmm.
my network, etc. Um, but also my personal preferences.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a period where I needed support, and thank God I had it. Like I had my parents, my friends, um, and services at McGill that
Yeah.
were able to like provide some sort of counseling, whether it be academic or personal. And I would say that all of that helps to kind of, yeah, take the
Mhm.
challenge away.
I tell you.
I don't think I had to make like a really hard decision at least not related to the university, because I think like the hardest decisions I take are the ones related to like my emotions or my feelings. And I don't think I had to think about like my major as much as Paloma did, because I came to McGill knowing that I wanted to study liberal arts. It's a program that does not exist in France, and I knew I wanted to like study it in McGill in order to be able to like start with this broad program, and then specify like little by little.
No, it sounds like a good fit for you guys. So that's great. In terms of coming back to what Emily said in the recording, she talked about, of course, making decisions based on majors and minors, but she also talked about something that is even broader, and I would say even more. I would say, I don't want to classify like what's more important, what's not, but she talked about what do you value in university, and I think that's so interesting to see how when you start your adulthood life and then you come like start living alone, start this, she talked about how you can start valuing prestige or money or your interests or whatever it is that you feel is the most important for you. And that is something that I completely like truly relate to, because I feel like when you start this journey, you're like, okay, so I have to think about my future, my job. I have to think about what do I actually like. I don't want to change 600s of times my path, you know. And so I think my question would be, how do you guys define your priorities, and how do you decide what will you concentrate on and what matters to you? Who wants to start?
I can go first if you want. Now I have my answer.
Sure, go ahead.
Like I think last year I didn't want to make any choice because I was worried that it would like impact how, like, I didn't want to choose because choosing is also like um saying no to something, you know, and like giving up on an opportunity. So I didn't want to do that. And I think that last year I tend to accept everything, to open all the doors in order to like be open to everything and then have the choice. I wanted to have a lot of opportunities, but then it was so exhausting to attend a lot of events, to talk to a lot of people, to try to like be a good student, but at the same time like work on my podcast, work on this, on that, and um just always trying to be perfect in every aspect of my life. And I think this year I was like, I am so not traumatized, but like I think I learned my lesson. So I know that in order to just feel well and get some sleep and really be in the moment, not always be stressing out about what am I gonna do or what did I just do. I need to choose. And how do I do that? I think I okay, it's gonna sound like very cliche, but I think I just do it with my heart. Like, you know, if as I just said, like I think if I don't regret it, it means it was probably the good thing for me to do. And I talked about it with like my roommates, and we both have the same vision of like how we like the importance we accord to we give to studying and like doing our readings, doing well on our exams, etc. And we talked about it, and I was like, sometimes I feel bad because it's like not my top one priority. And she said, honestly, it's fine. And I think you have to choose, and you can't have like five top one priority, otherwise it's not top one. So I think you just have to be okay with not having the same priority as everyone. And as long as you are, you need to have priority, but as long as like you are fine with it, it's cool. And you can always change if you feel like it's not aligned with you anymore. But I think you really have to listen to yourself and not to, like how you said, like what's gonna look cool or look more, I don't know, professional on a CV or
Mhm.
something like that. But like you always need to think about what something's gonna look like when you are older. But you also need to worry about like right now, what am I gonna do about this situation? You know, I don't
Yeah.
think it makes
Yeah, you
sense.
make complete sense, Tori.
Okay, perfect.
When you first asked the question, I kind of had two answers. I would say the first would be related to my day-to-day life, and the second would be a more like life principles kind of answer. So the first answer that I would give you is that my top priority is school. And if anything comes in the way of that, I will make sure that like my assignments are done first and my readings are done first and my understanding of a concept is done first before anything else. Sometimes before my sleep, sometimes before my meals, um, definitely before calls or, you know, quality time with people. But that doesn't mean that I neglect that because my second priority is actually spending time with people, friends, family, and taking time to enjoy. And I know it sounds weird. You're like, are you programming yourself to enjoy a certain time? Yes, I distribute my time um, according to my physical capacities and the things that I prioritize, namely school and fun. And it's all
Got
about
priorities.
it, really. And
Yeah.
those are the main two. Um, and some things fall into both. Like some of my music classes are both fun and school. Some of my, you know what I mean? They answer each other. Some of my friends teach me useful stuff for my academic,
Mhm.
um, how would I say this? Evolution. Um, and my second answer would be then that in terms of life priorities, I do put the accent on a job that will fulfill me, something that both entails an academic performance and a creative and personal input of mine and hopefully other people. Um, which is why I am so passionate about having those day-to-day priorities straight, is because in the future, I know that I'm going to make out a profession out of both of those
Mm.
priorities, you know?
Yeah.
And then that leaves time for even more fun and even more discussions with people and even more experiences with family and friends. And I guess even more time to reflect on what is even important in the end. And that last question about what is really important to us in the end has kind of always been there growing up, I
Yeah.
guess. And especially, I think we're all people with a pretty high level of sensitivity, if that's even a word, in French, sensibilité. Um, and that kind of automatically entails that you're going to think about these kind of questions.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
And taking into account the fact that we're from very privileged milieus, socially speaking, financially speaking, networkly speaking,
Mhm.
we have the time to think about those things. And it's once again both a prison and a liberty to be able to think about those things. Now, what do you do when you ask yourself those questions? Do you find answers as quickly as possible and set yourself out there to, conduct whatever principle you just found or values that you just found or hobby that you want to continue? Or do you take the time to ponder and really be quite philosophical about it and be like, okay, what is a good human life? What makes your life meaningful and have a purpose and et cetera, et cetera. And everyone, as you said, has a different response to that.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, what you think is the most important or the most meaningful in your lives, but one thing that I discovered talking with a friend is that she was like, in the end, we don't have a purpose. We really don't. We all die in the same lonely, little
That's true.
wooden box. And we all live too. We all experience things. We all laugh, cry, love, hate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just human experience. And it doesn't necessarily need to have a purpose. We, as human beings, need the consolation of having one, but maybe we don't inherently have one, is what I'm trying to say. And so maybe you're lying to yourself when you find a purpose, but it definitely helps, I think, with dealing with how absurd life is,
Yeah, that's
really,
true.
to decide for yourself, what do you want to spend your time doing?
Mm-hmm.
And it's maybe a waste of time, who knows? But at least you're liking the process of it. And so if you find a purpose that is meaningful to you and hopefully others, then I believe you should stick to it and not necessarily think about it too much, as in, wait, but what I'm doing right now, like, will it really like impact the world, and will I leave my mark in history? Some people's goals is really just
Yeah,
to do
that's
that.
true.
It's
Good for them if that's their purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But what I decided for myself, recently at least, it might change, is that I want to, whatever I live, I think my purpose is to create something physical out of it, whether it's music, whether it's writing my thoughts down, whether it's having discussions with people, whether it's making short films or writing songs, or, it's making art out of the things that I live. I think that's my purpose. And that's a very big statement to make. Like, in
That's
one's existence, like,
interesting.
it's,
And that's beautiful.
I don't want to have the prétention to be like, this is my purpose, God gave it to me. No, like, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is,
like maybe your purpose will change over time.
yes, yeah. What I'm definitely saying is, what I have decided for myself,
Yeah, of
taking
course.
into account who I am and what I've lived and the chances that
I
the
understand.
opportunities that I had, made me decide that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to like bounce back on something you said. I really want to highlight that it's a privilege to be able to choose. Because I remember that when I arrived at McGill, a lot of people were like, oh my God, you're so lucky to be at McGill. But it's also because like I'm not like rich, okay? But like my parents are still able to pay for McGill, and not everyone has this opportunity. And also like we're studying liberal arts, and I love liberal arts. It's interesting, and I am gonna find a job with that because some people are worried about it, but we don't have to worry about it.
I'm not worried.
Thank you. But I also had like this chance sort of to choose, to really, really choose what I wanted to study. And my parents never told me, oh, you should take that class or this class. Like, obviously, they gave like advices to me because they know me, and they wanted the best for me. But at the same time, they never told me like, oh, you should do mathematics or physics because it's going to give you a super job. And I remember that when I was in high school, a lot of people had parents telling them, oh, you should do this because this is really what is going to make you like rich later. And
Yeah.
so many people, even like when you are an international student, have like this pressure from their parents, and it's like totally understandable. But I am so like, I feel really lucky to not have it. And I think what I just said earlier about like, obviously like university is super important for me, but if like I think about my life, I don't think it's the one thing that stands out. And during the whole summer, for example, where I wasn't in university, honestly, I like didn't miss it, or I didn't think about it that much. And when people were like, "Oh, what did you do during your first year?" Honestly, like university really was not the thing I was talking about. So that's like how I came to the realization that it's not like my top one priority, but because I'm an international student and because like I do care about, how can I say that, like having a certain comfort, and I want to keep that comfort in my life later. So I want to be able to like have a house and like travel if I want to, and have all of those opportunities that I had like growing up. So I still make time
Yeah.
to, and I still prioritize this. But I think if like I had this pressure from my parents, it wouldn't be a choice. It would be like sort of a must, you know?
Do we have to move on, or can I add something to that?
Go for it. It's a conversation. It's not like an
It's
interview. I'm okay with listening. It's so interesting what you guys are saying.
Oh, I'm glad you think that.
I have 2 points to make once again.
Make your point.
The first one would be, I would like to correct you when you said I'm not rich.
Ah,
I think
you think I am rich?
I think
I
we
think we're
are
all
very
rich.
rich on this
But
table.
that's like a completely other discussion about money and about how
I
do
think
you
we are
see-
like wealthy, but not rich.
In every
What-
possible sense, we are wealthy, and
the fact that we're in McGill. I mean,
yes, and I think it's
Yes,
important to
you know, like
acknowledge
for
it.
me, there's middle class. There's like in French,
But
in
I
French
think-
we say
I
like
think we're
classe
upper
aisée,
class.
and then there's
should
we
possibly
are
be-
upper class, but we're not rich.
Yes,
upper class
Like-
is rich.
No, like you have the lower class, then you have the middle class, then you have the upper class, and you have the like
I think we all
lower
have
class and the rich.
We all have a very different notion.
Honestly,
what
I
is
am not rich. Like
we have a very different notion. Everyone has a very different notion of who is considered rich. Like we actually, this is completely off topic, but we can
Yeah,
have like,
it
a
is,
really-
it is.
it ties in with
no,
what
no.
your priorities are.
I agree.
It's true.
It's just
It's true.
we talked about this with my parents, and so I remember this really well when like we talked about who do you consider rich, and and with my parents were like, for us, and even my parents, my dad said that to me, and I really remember it. He was like, for me, from the moment you don't like you go to buy groceries and you don't really look at the price of the items, or you look, but like we look because we're students and we have like a budget, but most of the time if you go with your parents or something like that, you will not really look at the price. From the moment you have this level of comfort, you're rich. Well, like that's
Yeah.
my definition of rich, but that's like everyone
No,
is
like,
different.
I understand your definition of rich. It's just like for me, there are levels.
Of course, no,
And,
there are
like,
extra riches, there are like
me-
millionaires, billionaires.
Yeah, but like even at McGill, like honestly, I am not one of the richest like
Of
families.
course, no.
I know that like I grew up in Cameroon, and I know that like for the level of life of Cameroon, my parents are considered rich, but like for the level of life of France, which is like a richer country, we are not like really considered as rich. But
No, I get it.
obviously like we are wealthy because, as you said, like we have the privilege to be student here and to not like really pay attention to the prices in the supermarket.
Yeah.
But even to have careers directed by our personal preference
Yeah.
is probably the biggest wealth you could ever find.
Mm-hmm.
Having the choice is a type of richness. Being able to
It's not even
travel,
just money. Yeah.
study abroad, or even study. you
Yeah,
know,
it's
not
true.
worrying about the clothes that you're going to wear, the food that you're going to eat, the healthcare that you're going to get. It's
Yeah, healthcare is a real one.
I just think we are the most privileged people on this planet, and that I think it's important to acknowledge it because
Exactly.
we're talking about things that only privileged people talk about.
Yeah.
And we're worrying about things that only privileged people worry about. So I think the first level of thought within the whole like thought process of humans is to first kind of level out, okay, where are we?
Mm-hmm.
And then, yes, you have your preoccupations, but that where are we helps you kind of take some distance when, once again, times are rough or,
Yeah.
you
Kind of
know,
understand.
you know what I
more.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you understand, like, wait a minute. Like,
It's not that bad.
it's not that bad. And I'm not saying this to minimize whatever you're feeling or to make it ridicule. That's not the goal. I'm just saying it, the problem, if there is a problem, is still there. It's just reduced.
Yeah,
And you have that extra step of being grateful for what you have. And maybe that's something we forgot, I think,
I agree.
within our, we're in a society where things go quickly. You can get whatever you want in seconds. And I think it's important to take the time to remember, I have this, I have that, I have the comfort of, I have the luxury of, I have the opportunity to. Those things come first in the thought process.
I agree.
And it's only normal that people from our backgrounds think that way because,
Yeah, but most people don't think that way.
but that's an issue, I think.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I come back maybe to the more like value side of things
Mhm.
because
Mm.
even if that's a really interesting topic about like privilege, and that
That's
could
true.
be a whole other
Second
conversation.
podcast.
Exactly.
That's what I
part
was
two.
gonna say.
But I would say,
Make a podcast on it.
yeah, I would say I agree. Like it's interesting even to see the difference between you because like for example, you said that like school maybe is not like your top one priority, whereas you said that's your top one.
Yeah.
And I think like even for me, when I was deciding, I had the same experience as you. I think last year I said yes to like everything, and I got
Mhm.
exhausted.
Yeah, we talked about
We
it.
talked about it. I got exhausted because I just didn't know what to choose, how to choose, what to make a
Mhm.
priority of mine.
Did you have the fear of missing out? 'Cause I
Oh,
did.
of course,
Yeah.
of course, everywhere,
Yeah.
and just even choosing again, very complicated everywhere. And so I think that for me, like coming this year, I had same things like a thought process of like, okay, what do I truly want from this experience? And I was like, I know that I even like in terms of people, I was kind of trying to go everywhere.
Mm.
And in the end, I was like, I don't even know if these are my people, if this is what I want, if these are
Mhm.
truly people that um push me forward
Yeah.
and not take me back. And
Mm.
so in the end, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do my thing.
Mhm.
I'm gonna do me. That's like I I think this is like something that I try to stick to like every day. I
Mm.
do my studies, I do my projects, I do what I want to do. And people will follow. That's like something that is embraced in my mind. I'm like, people will follow. People that are here to support you and that are here with you and that in the end have the same kind of values as you
Mm.
will be there and will
Yeah.
stay. And people that are not the same, well, will go and that's okay. And
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that, you lost these amazing friendships. No, it
Mm.
just means that maybe you are not aligned on what
Mhm.
you guys want. And that's also okay. And so I try to, yeah, just coming back to what's your priority, I try to stick to that and be like, when I have so many things going on, I'm like, I do my stuff and we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah.
One thing that I find very important and kind of central to university experience is being authentic.
Mhm.
And that is something very, very challenging because once again, you have maybe priorities that you've been conditioned to think are your priorities,
Yeah,
such as school, maybe, which is why it might be a liberation for you not to think of school as a number one priority, et cetera, et cetera. And I also think that by being authentically you, which is probably the hardest thing ever to do,
Mhm.
and that you probably take a lifetime to achieve, if you even achieve it,
True.
um, is also to trust the process. I don't necessarily go by that. When I mean trust, I mean trust with capital letters, and that is trust for friends that are going to support you and going to follow you no matter which direction you take. Trust, your family that thankfully for us is going to support us when times are rough. Trust for whatever opportunity is going to come to you.
Mm.
Trust. In reality, sorry, I'm coming back to the last point we made. It's all about knowing that you have the privilege
Mm.
to have all those things. Once you know all the privileges that you have, the only thing that's left to do is trust them because they're there, they're real, and they pull us up and they kind of make us step on other people. And that's an issue. We're going to talk about that on another time. But how can we doubt things with the lives that we have? Honestly, we know we're going to get jobs. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Coming out of McGill as an international student, having the networks that we had growing up, growing the networks that we have here, you know, like fueling them with a bunch of random people that might give you the opportunities of your lifetime. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you're right with like trusting, because choosing and like assuming your choices comes from being confident about knowing what's the best thing you can do.
No, I get it.
Now I have a question for you, Sasha.
Oh,
Yeah,
Because
okay.
you are in management,
you
I
are.
am.
and I was jokingly saying finance, but that is an area of your interest, I believe. Or I don't really know how you, you know, feel about finance, but I'm actually very interested to know how do
Yeah.
you make your studies meaningful, if that's even something that you
No,
want.
I get it. I would say coming to McGill, honestly, my first thought was I wanted to do business, and I knew that because it's not even a question. I know that a lot of people do go to like business studies when they really don't know what to do, and they just like, okay, that will give me a job.
I want to make
My
money.
parents are good with that. I'll make some money, I'll work hard, I'll go in finance
Mm.
for a few years, and then I'll do what I like. I have a lot of people that told me that.
Mm.
That was not my thought process. Honestly, I debated between arts and business for a long time. I chose business because I really liked the creative side of like entrepreneurship. That's
Mm.
also like the podcast idea and all. And so I really wanted to understand more what's even business. What does that mean? Like I never learned business in school. And so I was like, okay, I can choose to continue learning literature or philosophy or whatever I want to learn, or I can go in a completely different field where I have zero knowledge, but that would be also very interesting. And so I chose that. I came to business like with this thought, and I actually came to business with the thought of doing a major in sustainability. Like I was like, there's a program called Management for Sustainability. That was my thought. Not in there anymore. So completely changed on that note. But basically it's true that a lot of people I there's a lot of things that I don't necessarily agree with in the management faculty, or even the fact that it's weird how between students, management students are not really well seen. Like they're mostly seen when I say, "Oh, I'm in management." People are like, "Oh, easy money." You know, that's actually the first thing that people say.
Mm.
Whereas when you say on a CV that you are finishing a management degree, it looks even better than an arts degree. You know, so it's
It's
weird
true.
the difference between how outside the school you will be valued, whereas in the school how people will see you. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's on that note.
Very interesting.
I had another question for you.
Please.
Go ahead.
So this conversation is so interesting, and I think this could like last for hours, but we have to start, coming back to a little bit the whole thing. And
Yeah.
so I have like a few last questions that I usually ask like everyone that I interview because I think they're interesting questions, honestly. So my first, I would say, wrapping up question would be, how do you guys define success? And it's such a large question, and I know, but I think it's so interesting to see the different answers on that one. So don't think about it too much. Just say what do you think, and also it would be interesting just to know if that definition changed over time.
Yeah, it's so interesting. There are so many things to say.
Just say whatever comes to mind.
Yeah, you can start if you want.
Okay. I think it's very simple coming from an international school, not in Canada, but in Hong Kong. I attended a French international school. success equals money. Very simple. And I was one of the only ones to attend university in humanities and philosophies and blah, blah, blah. And most people were like jokingly asking me, but aren't you gonna be unsuccessful? Aren't you gonna fail in your life? Kind of like that was the suggestive assumption, that like,
Mhm.
oh, she's gonna, you know, that I could make more out of myself, compte tenu where I come from. And that made me question what success was, because a lot of those people who actually made those kind of comments were very lost internally.
Mm.
And my preoccupation was then, if you're very successful financially, identity wise, where are you?
Yeah.
You know? And what purpose do you give to your life? Seriously. And I would kind of ask them those questions and I'd get laughs back like, ha ha, you're being philosophical.
Yeah.
Ha ha, like, whatever, crazy woman. You know what I mean? Um, and I was like, Jesus, they're so insecure about
Mhm.
even being who they are, like assuming what they like and setting out for a life adventure, giving meaning into your life and the things that you do. It's a whole adventure and you need courage. You need balls. Sorry, you do need balls. You need authenticity. And those things, I think, are the core of a human experience. And if you don't have the shoulders to carry it, yes, sure, you'll have your very comfortable house and your beautiful dog and your beautiful wife and your 5 kids that all want to be like you. And I'm not criticizing that lifestyle. All I'm saying is if you don't question it, that's the problem.
Mhm.
And what I like about the field that I'm studying in is that we question everything. And once again, that's a problem too, because all of a sudden life gets absurd and success, it's just a succession of letters. You know, it doesn't make sense anymore. And and in the end you're like, okay, what's the conclusion to this? And everyone's kind of silent and no one knows what to say. So all I'm trying to say here is that once again, life is very absurd. So success, in my sense,
Yeah.
would be to find something that you feel is fulfilling, that you feel kind of gives you this drive to explore, create, love, and hate, and all of those other emotions that come with living.
Mhm.
Um, so I think that success would be being able to live, as in survive, eat, sleep, etc., but also exist as an identity, even if it's temporary, because we all die. Surprise, surprise.
Spoiler alert.
But yeah, to be able to exist and fully carry that with proud shoulders.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I I agree with you. Like, it's so true that I think you need to question like the model that we sort of learned growing up.
Mhm.
And I don't know how I would like describe what success looks like for me, but I agree with most of what you just said, and I think it's about really finding what makes you happy and not like what the society expects you to do, because we really don't have the same priority. We are not like we are all so different, and we come from different backgrounds, and we are all very different, and we have to take this in consideration when speaking about like success, because as
Of
you
course.
just said,
No, it's
Paloma, we can say
very
like, oh, success is owning a house when you turn 30 with like your partner of life and having children, because I would love to like own a house, sorry, but I don't know like if I want to have like children, or if I want to have a house when I'm turning 30, or like I think a lot of that just depends on who you are and what you want for yourself. And I also sort of like grew up surrounded by people who thought that success was like making money, and who were like focused on, as I just told like earlier, studying something that's going to make you rich. But I just know that if I don't do something that's going to make me happy, if I'm not like passionate about what I do, or if I don't love what I'm studying, if I don't love the people that are around me, I just know that I'm going to be so unhappy and so sad. And I just don't want that for myself.
Mm.
So I think I'm sort of unable to do something that I don't love.
Yeah.
And that also like comes back to choosing, to making choices,
Mhm.
to making decisions based on the consequences, because I will always prioritize the end, the like the ending that's gonna make me the happiest,
Mm.
even if it's not the one that's gonna make everyone happiest.
No, but
Happier.
that's good.
But
Put yourself
there's
priority.
there's like something to sort of take in consideration as uh saying that as like the people's feelings, because I can't be like rude and selfish and then be like, oh, but I don't care because it's my own happiness,
Yeah, no,
you
of
know.
course.
So there's certain like
Oh, yeah.
consideration to have of others,
Of course, of
but
course.
still, like in the end, it's my life, and as you just said, we all are gonna die someday. So you shouldn't care if I studied business
Yeah.
or arts or whatever.
Okay. Good.
I
Yeah.
said earlier on that it's important to question the things that we think or say. And I'd like to come back on a point that I just made. I was kind of criticizing the lifestyle of the typical successful person that my schoolmates in high school would depict. And you talked about social pressure of marrying, having kids, of having a stable job, etc. And I do think that there's a reason why that social pressure is so present and why it's, you know, axed on those things. I think it's because inherently having kids does give you a purpose,
Yeah, of
and it
course.
does give you meaning, and it gives you that drive to want to, you know, make them happy individuals and free and
And
whatnot.
successful individuals.
Yeah.
And marrying someone also gives you meaning and also purpose. And having a stable job gives you the time to, you know, set out for all your endeavors and cultivate them and cherish them. And so I was criticizing that vision of success. And I'd like to come back on that because that success does give you the time to think about meaning and purpose and all of the things that I said were most important.
Yeah.
And so maybe the first step would be to have all those things, that comfort. And then the second would be what I initially considered the most important, namely happiness, fulfillment, courage, and carrying whatever on your shoulders. There is that first step of success that I kind of criticized and even kind of wanted to throw away. But now that I think of it, it is a part of my own vision. And yeah, I would say that unfortunately, it comes with wanting money, wanting
Yeah.
comfort.
Yeah,
And-
wanting comfort.
Yeah.
I think mostly.
Emotionally and
comfort-
materially.
Comfort comes with money. Well, money
Yeah.
comes with comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got it. Okay. Well, thank you for your answer. I would say if just again wrapping up, what do you want people to remember from this conversation?
I think we said some things that I hope that we said some things that are gonna like echo, and that some of your listeners, can I say, okay, listeners are gonna relate to our discussion.
Yeah.
So I think your initial topic for your podcast was student experience,
Making
challenges,
choices.
and making choices. And I think it kind of drifted to privileges. And I guess it's obviously intertwined. But I think the takeaway of this discussion is that while embarking on your university experience, you realize where you come from and where it can lead you.
Mhm.
And it kind of positions you social wise. And that is really important because any decision that you're going to make will be based on that
That's true.
punctual position. So the takeaway would be very honest with yourself and others about what your position is
Mhm.
and
Be
try to
aware.
make, yes. So acknowledge that
Mm-hmm.
and make the most out of it.
Yeah, and decisions will come along, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. And when I say make the most out of it, it also comes with being honest with yourself and being authentic.
If I had to like sort of sum up my thoughts on the original topic and Emily's voice note, I would say that I think it takes a lot of like courage to really be confident in your choices, but in order to do so, I think you just need to test, to try a lot of things, to not be worried about like what others are gonna think, or if you're gonna like something, if you're gonna fail at something, because otherwise we would always stay in our like comfort bubble and never try new things, and that's how you discover things about yourself. And the university experience is also about growing up, evolving, learning a lot of new things, learning a lot about yourself. And as you said, people that really loves you are gonna follow, are gonna stay by your side. And it's also by being yourself that you're gonna attract people that really are aligned with yourself.
Yeah.
And as you also said, Paloma, as long as you are like aligned with yourself and comfortable with your decisions, people, your family, your close friends are still gonna love you, and they will always be here as like
Support.
exactly. Thank you. Support.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for being here for this discussion. One last question, completely different, but just want to know, based on that, what is your biggest and boldest dream right now?
Wow,
Wow, I love
that's
this
a
question.
huge question.
Just first thing that pops into mind.
Boldest dream.
It can be like a sentence,
Okay.
a word, whatever you want.
Okay, I have mine.
Go ahead, because I still want to formulate mine.
Okay, well, you said, haha, it would be nice if we had a rational guess. This is completely like the opposite. I think my biggest, boldest dream would one day be able to fall in love.
Oh, wow.
I want to
that's-
be
You
at a
have this
point in my
feeling?
life
Okay.
where I can fall in love. And I don't know if everyone gets to fall in love, but I want to fall in love.
That's beautiful.
Well, that's not what I thought about. Like, I love to fall in love and like find someone and but it's not the subject, and we
Okay.
already talked about it. And yeah, we talked about it. So I think if I had like to choose one of my dreams, because I have a lot, I would say graduating and being able to find a job that really fulfills me and that not only makes me very happy and it makes me love like my daily routine and my life in general, because you are spending most of your life working, unfortunately, so you need to love what you're working in, but also that makes me able to travel and get a certain comfort and also sort of give to others, create the life I want to create for myself. And I would love, if it's possible, to do that related to my podcast, to creating content on the media, etc. I would love it, like both to be able to combine.
I agree.
What is your biggest, boldest dream?
Yeah. What is yours?
I haven't thought about it, honestly. I'm still figuring out everything.
When you ask questions,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know that
I
people are gonna
that's the
ask
thing.
about
I
it.
don't really think about the answers when I ask the question.
But it's an interesting question.
Yeah, no, it's such an interesting, such a broad question. I would say, oh, I have many things that I want to do. I'm very like, I have too many ideas, and I think my biggest and boldest dream would be just to realize them all. Like that would be
true.
crazy. I have, like, I would again, same thing as you. I would love to actually make a maybe not a job, but like work in a field where I have these conversations with people. I want to maybe one day open a little tea salon with like cheesecake and tea, because that's me. I and like but I have so many
That's
ideas
great.
and thoughts, and so I think, yeah, the biggest and boldest dream would be just to actually make it happen. So we'll see.
But you already are.
I am. No,
It's
honestly,
true.
You can be
It's
very
true.
proud of
it's
yourself.
it's already happening. Like I saw this, I don't know if you know this girl named the Wizard Liz. She's like famous.
Yeah, I know
And
her.
yeah, and basically she at some point she was like, be careful of what you wish for, because it might happen, and even like more. And that's something that I relate to, because sometimes I like dreamed of something, but I did not even like think of it. I was like, yeah, that would be so amazing, but last December I was like, oh, that would be fun to start a podcast. And now I'm here in a recording studio,
Yeah, in this
actually
crazy
talking with
recording
people
studio.
and having this amazing opportunity. So yeah, I'm just gonna follow this path and pray that I'll be able to do my other bold ideas.
I hope you're gonna.
Amazing.
So yeah. So thank you for your time. Thank you for this conversation. It was amazing, so interesting to listen. Way longer than expected, but as always. So
It's true.
I mean, I'm never that was kind of, I expected that, I would say, a little bit. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, for listening. I hope you enjoyed. I'm gonna, if you're okay, I'll maybe link your podcast. It's in
I would
French.
love that. I would
It's
love
in
that.
French, but if you
Practice
guys
your French
wanna,
with Mathilde.
exactly. I also
Yeah.
have a podcast in French, so
Yeah.
Practice your French with Sasha and Mathilde.
whatever you guys want.
Yeah.
And if you have any thoughts, any comments, don't hesitate.
DM us on Instagram. Even though
Exactly.
Paloma does not really have Instagram.
Just write and we'll respond.
Exactly.
And yeah, that was Stab, the Student Startup Lab with Sasha Levsky. Don't be afraid to try and follow what you want to do.
Exactly.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good day or good night.
About